Here we have Auchentoshan at 18 years old, and this is a new addition to the core range. It sits between the price points of the 3 wood and the 21. And I think from listening to our customers and also listening to our distributors and people at whisky events around the world, they were asking for something that just really bridged that gap between the 3 wood and the 21. And this is where the 18-year-old really took hold. It was a fantastic success when it was launched last year. In fact, it probably sold about double what we expected it to sell. The fantastic thing about Auchentoshan at 18 years old is that, like the progression from the classic to the 12, again you see a progression from the 12 to the 18. This is the point that Auchentoshan becomes fragrant and slightly spicy. This is a lot down to the casks that are used, and there's a lot of hogsheads used in the makeup of this whisky. The hogsheads have fresh ends in them, and that imparts a distinct spiciness to the whisky. Now this is at 43%, but again, even at 43%, this is perfectly palatable to drink as is. But again, with Auchentoshan, we promote it as a modern product, something that's quite diverse, can appeal in different situations and at different times. So, you know, Auchentoshan is one of these things, even at 18, that you can experiment with. I prefer to drink my Auchentoshan 18 personally, just straight up in the glass. However, one novel way that I did recently see this done was actually the bottle encased in ice, and the whisky really chilled down. It gives it a slightly gloopy and thick feel in the mouth, and just adds something to that spiciness that you get from the wood. There is one flavour that confuses a lot of people about Auchentoshan. Auchentoshan is a non-peated whisky. There is no smoke in it whatsoever, but many people will pick it up and say, I can smell something reminds me about smoke here. It's actually tobacco leaf, and again that comes from the way that we distill. It's a slightly fainty oily smell, absolutely fantastic. Real harmony of flavours both on the nose and on the mouth. It adds to that spiciness of the wood. Again, the sweetness that you always associate with Auchentoshan, that little bit of fruitiness, but you just get this perfect harmony now of that light tobacco leaf. Green tea is the distinct flavour I always get from it, and that spiciness. Immediately on the nose, I get the green tea essence coming through. Then I get some of that tobacco coming through. That's just balanced with the sweetness. When we look at the colour here, we can see it's not as dark as the Auchentoshan 3 wood. This is down to the different cask types that we use. You'll also see that the legs are slightly thicker, that give just that indication of a slightly higher age. Again, the legs don't tell you about the age, they just give you an indication, because the age is determined by a lot of things, and so are the legs. The legs can be determined by alcohol strength, different cask types. But when you look at an 18-year-old and you see these distinct, well-formed legs, it gives you an indication that this is a well-matured whisky and something that can be enjoyed on its own. Give it a little swirl in the glass, bring it back to your nose. Again, that wood spice comes through. That tobacco leaf, green tea. It really is a perfect whisky for any time of the day. Very soft on the palate. You get the sweetness coming through again, but this time the sweetness is more like a honeyed sweetness. You get that slight dryness of green tea, and then at the back it begins to get fragrant, and you get a little bit of that tobacco leaf and that wood spiciness. I think this is a fantastic whisky, certainly as a digestive, because it really does bring the palate back to life. But I also think that this is a whisky not only for special occasions, but you know, a whisky that you can enjoy in many occasions with special friends.